What's good in the hood, YouTube? This is Crazy Samurai 71. For those that don't remember me, I am a longtime Power Rangers, Super Sentai, and Kamen Rider fan, and for a few years now, I've been out of that whole scene. I left it because of a lot of stress having to do with posting content and people on social media communicating with me and me just getting overwhelmed by it all. And for a while, I was really out of it. I stopped around the time of, for Power Rangers, Beast Morphers, the first, like the spring season happening. I stopped right after that, in August, I believe it was, of that year. And then for Sentai, Real Soldier was happening, which is the series that is currently being adapted in America, which is Dino Fury now. And then for Kamen Rider, I believe I was on Geo, if I'm not mistaken. Geo was the current series that was happening, and obviously a couple years have gone by. You may wonder, why am I back? Well, the reason why I'm back is because Power Morphicon, a major convention that happens every 2 years typically, recently occurred about a week or so ago, which is the largest Power Rangers convention that happens every 2 years. And it's something that I've gone to in the past. 3 conventions that they had prior to this most recent one. I didn't do the online one because I didn't really want to deal with that, but the past 3 in-person ones I did go to. So 2018, 2016, and 2014, all those ones I did go to, and I really enjoyed them. And when I saw the 2022 one, I really felt like I missed a lot of this community, and so much of the convention scene is such a big part of like my past, and I really enjoyed going to it in the past in California because it was just really cool, a lot of fun. It was awesome meeting a lot of the actors, and you know, it was really special and important to me. And now I'm a few years older, and I feel like, wow, I want to reconnect with this community that I've really stepped away from, and now I feel like I need to come back into. So because of that, I've actually been making some purchases. I've been trying to do certain things to get reinvested into the franchise. The biggest issue right now has been that my TV that I tend to use, I've used actually for the past 17 years, it finally started having issues. You may think, wow, 17 years. Yeah, it's an old TV, but I'm getting a brand new one that's coming in the mail at the end of this week. So I'm trying to like watch stuff on my computer, on my phone, at least to kind of get caught up. But once I get the new TV in, it's gonna be great to watch things on my PS5 and all that. But anyway, recent purchases have led me to like buy certain things to, you know, represent Power Rangers. Power Rangers to me is something that I've typically stayed away from as far as purchasing stuff for, mainly because when Bandai was doing the merch, it wasn't that great in my opinion, and that's just me. You know, the legacy stuff was really cool, but some of it was really pricey and very hard to afford. And a lot of it, the quality wise, was just all right, and it varied a lot. So personally to me, I tended to stay away from it. But when I was leaving the community, Hasbro came in, and Hasbro started doing some really awesome stuff with their Lightning Collection line. The Legacy line was just okay, but the Lightning Collection line has been really amazing with their figures. Speaking of which, coming back into it, I recently bought 2 figures, one being Dino Fury Red, which is awesome, and I am a box collector. I do like to keep them in box. Obviously, he's the first Dino Fury figure released for the Lightning Collection line, recently came out. And the other one that I wanted to get for sure recently, and I have a whole bunch already prior to this, but these were some of the more recent purchases. And this is probably for my favorite series, which is Time Force. Time Force was the series that I personally love. I've said this in the past before. Time Force is my favorite. Very hard to find Time Force Red outside a Big Bad Toy Store. If you're looking for him, go there. You'll find him for the price he sold for initially. If you go anywhere else, you'll find him for $40 to $60+, especially on eBay. You will find them very high. And again, a lot of these figures are generally very high because the aftermarket for a lot of Power Rangers Lightning Collection figures have been pretty high in general. There are exceptions, and some of them just sell for retail, but you know, just keep your eye out because you never know what you'll find. Time Force Red I found for retail, and then also I recently purchased for a lower cost was Dino Charge Pink, because I already have Dino Charge Red, and I'm hoping to eventually collect the missing figures that I still don't have for Dino Charge, which is personally gold, like pretty much all the other colors except for red and pink now. And I know that some of them are going to be pretty expensive. I mean, green's pretty cheap. Black is generally very expensive. And what do you call it? Gold is pretty fair. You can find gold pretty cheap if you're lucky. And I've learned this because I've been looking around trying to find stuff. The other thing I've been trying to get into is buying more physical media. Prior to now, I only had the box sets for Zeo through, I think it was In Space or Time or Lost Galaxy, and then I had the other box set that went all the way up to Dino Thunder, which are great box sets. But I was hoping to collect, you know, the more recent, like the what do you call it? The SPD through RPM box set, which is really expensive now. That box set is like $200 to $250, sometimes even $300 or more, because it's so hard to find. And that's like the most expensive box set of the box sets that exist right now. So like, obviously I wasn't gonna spend all that money just on that one box set. So instead I've been collecting the individual DVD case sets, which right now I've already gotten SPD recently. I also ordered fairly recently Mystic Force and Operation Overdrive, and I also recently ordered Dino Charge, Dino Supercharge, Ninja Steel, and Super Ninja Steel. And I'm eventually going to get the missing seasons, but some of those are quite expensive. Jungle Fury and RPM fairly cheap, but a lot of the Nick seasons that I'm missing are generally anywhere from $30 to $60, which is pretty expensive. And also I'm trying to get the Mighty Morphin original movie, which I didn't have a physical copy of, and also the 2017 movie. Keep in mind, all these things I'm getting for at most $10 or so to as little as like $2 or $3, not including shipping. Shipping, it does bring it up a little bit, but most of these things are not very expensive. The most expensive thing that I think of the DVD sets that I've gotten was this, which, yes, I recently got a physical complete box set of MMPR. I did not have one. I've watched MMPR a million times, but I never had a physical box set. And the reason why I'm buying physical media is because there's been so much nonsense going on with streaming platforms, moving content, getting rid of content from different platforms, and I'm not taking my chances. Obviously, Power Rangers was for a time on Netflix, at least most of it was. Nowadays, the only things you can find of it are MMPR, not including Alien Ranger, which is part of the reason why I got this set, because this set has Alien Ranger, which again, you cannot find that otherwise. It's the one exception that they are missing right now on Netflix, and they're probably not going to add it again, which is part of the reason why I got this, because I wanted to know I had the complete set. The other thing you can do, obviously, is you can watch stuff on YouTube. YouTube has the first 10 seasons plus I believe SPD, Jungle Fury, Dino Charge, and Dino Supercharge, but it's still missing, you know, all the seasons in between, which are some really good seasons, some of them. You know, like Dino Thunder, I believe, is missing, and Ninja Storm, which are both great seasons. RPM's missing. You know, these are good seasons that are still missing. But on Netflix, you have the MMPR seasons minus Alien Ranger. You have Super Ninja Steel, not even Ninja Steel, just Super Ninja Steel. Beast Morphers, both seasons, and then Dino Fury, which you have the whole first season, and then you have the first half of the second season, because that's all that's been released until September 29th. So there's not a lot on Netflix anymore. On YouTube, there is a bunch of stuff that does help out. So there's, you know, you do get a good amount of content online, but the thing is that, again, it's still relatively limited. At one point, Netflix had all of it. Netflix had literally everything. If you wanted to watch Power Rangers, you could start from Mighty Morphin and go all the way up to the most recent stuff, and you would be able to watch everything. can't do that anymore. So having physical media is a nice thing. Obviously, watching some of these movies, you can find them on certain platforms, like Mighty Morphin, the original movie, you can find that on HBO a lot of times. And Turbo you can also find on HBO. I already had Turbo, physical media wise. And then the 2017 movie, I think you have to purchase. You can't there's no streaming service that's specifically just streaming that right now. So it's been interesting that way. As far as other things I've gotten recently, I got this, which is the Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger Morpher. You may be wondering, Mighty Morphin Pink Ranger Morpher, why did I get it? Well, my intention is that recently they're planning on releasing each of these now, because they've recently confirmed that Yellow is getting her Morpher too. So my intention is to actually get at least the main 5. I'm hoping they'll do ones for White and Green as well. And then have it where I can go to conventions and have the Rangers of their appropriate color sign it. Obviously for Green and White, that may lead to both the ones that are of that color, or in some cases it may just be special Rangers. So in that case, I mean Gold Rangers, Silver Rangers, etc. So that's my intention right now. But yeah, so currently I have pink, but I have on order the yellow one pre-ordered, so she'll come in October. And as far as Time Force goes, specifically, they did recently announce that they're doing Time Force Blue with the Vector Cycle, so I had to pre-order that coming in March for those that are curious. Worth it if you love Time Force. I do, as you know, so worth it. Anyway, other news, other things to talk about. Power Rangers currently is on Dino Fury, and they're going to be releasing the 30th anniversary season, which will be for Power Rangers Cosmic Fury, which is the continuation of Power Rangers Dino Fury, which is something that a lot of people have been talking about. Some people are really excited about it, other people are not. It's interesting because, again, it's going to be the 3rd season for a series that we've had. We've never had that before outside of Mighty Morphin. And my thoughts are, I hope it's good. I am concerned, mainly because I do worry that if we're getting the single season situation, it's going to be a repeat of Megaforce and Super Megaforce, specifically for that season, in the sense is that they're going to try to rush to get everything done at once. And by that I mean we're going to see every transformation in Mecha very, very quickly. There's going to be very few episodes that aren't going to introduce a new Mecha or something. Every episode is going to have something new, whether it be a new combination or a new Mecha. And it's not a bad thing, but what my concern is that I don't want it to feel rushed. When I think back to Super Megaforce or Megaforce, those seasons felt really rushed because they were constantly putting out newer and newer stuff every few episodes, and it really didn't give us the time to really get a chance to see these things, see them in use a bunch. And then you look at the seasons that came out after and before it, where they really took their time, they slowly introduced things rather than just being like, here's everything all at once, which I don't want. I don't want it to feel rushed. I want to feel like we're really getting the chance to see these characters in these new uniforms that they're going to be getting for Cosmic Fury, which, again, we don't know what they're going to be getting. It could be Q Ranger or it could be Kira Major, which are 2 seasons that are being discussed as being adapted for that. Personally, I'm hoping for Q Ranger because Q Ranger would be a lot more of an exciting season, and more people are bigger fans of that series compared to Kira Major. Personally, I haven't watched Kira Major, but I do know that it's not as popular as, say, Q Ranger was. Q Ranger was massive when it came out. I love Q Ranger. But the point is that it could also be an interesting thing to see how they adapt it, because it's such a big season and there's so much going on. There's so many interesting villains. There's been talks of I've heard one person mention the idea of the main villain from Q Ranger could be something that they use as like a upgraded form for Lord Zed, because in the current Dino Fury series they brought back Lord Zed, so they could actually bring back him again for Cosmic Fury and have him have the final villain for the series form as like the final look, because that villain also has like an exposed brain similar to Zed, which I honestly think would be really cool. And I think that would be awesome because I love that villain from Q Ranger. Now again, could they do Kira Major? Definitely. but I'm hoping for Q-Ranger. That's my hope right now. Otherwise, not much else I can say right now. I've currently been rewatching the series that I fell out of, so I'm trying to get caught up with Beast Morphers. I've watched it all. When I stopped during the spring half of Beast Morphers, and now I am into the second season, and I've already watched all of Dino Fury because I wanted to be caught up with the current stuff, which I will say has been good, but definitely not as good as Beast Morphers. Beast Morphers has kept a more consistently good quality, but Dino Fury is still really good. It's just not as good. Like, I like it, but I don't love it per se, and it's nothing to do with anything having to do with any of the first for the series. I like all the things they're doing, like the LGBT representation, all that stuff. That's fine. I love it all. I have no issue with any of that. It's more so just the acting quality isn't as good. The stories aren't as exciting. Characters like Zato lack a lot of creativity, which I feel like the show creators could have done more with so far. I feel like a lot of times we really don't get to see enough of him. Like, he's supposed to be this ancient warrior, and he doesn't really feel ancient. I think about Dino Charge, where we had, Ivan and we had Coda, who were characters that were supposed to be these ancient warriors. Well, one was a caveman, one was an ancient warrior. But the point is that we really felt like they were those kind of characters. When I look at Zato or Ion, I don't really feel like they're these ancient warriors. I feel like they're people that, like, yeah, they don't know current stuff, but they come across as like very quick to adapt to the modern world, which is not like Coda, where Coda really had to take time. Same with Ivan, he had to really take time to like learn about what the current world is and how it works, which I think is so important, because you wanted to feel like there's this time to really adapt and show these characters evolve and learn, like, okay, the world functions this way now. It's not the same as it was when I was around, and I have to get used to it. And that's what I want to feel with Dino Fury. I don't really feel that right now, specifically with their characters. Again, I don't think that it's a bad series. I just think that they need to do more with it to make me feel really interested in it. I do like the references to past series, like with the weapon episode that they had with like the bikes. That was cool. And I did like Lord Zed coming back, although I did not like the voice that they chose to use to replace Robert Axelrod, who voiced Lord Zed originally. I do understand why they had to do it, but I don't think it was a good choice. I hope that they would have done something a little bit closer to the original, rather than giving him this almost robotic voice, which really wasn't like the original voice. The original voice had a very human voice. It wasn't like this machine sounding voice, which honestly kind of ruined it. And I understand like the voiceover bits that they had when they were like referencing past series. They wanted to have it consistent with how he was in the show, but it didn't sound good. Like, I understand that you don't want to have to use two different voices. You don't want to have like the original voice and then suddenly you hear the current one. You're like, why do these sound different? I understand that, but it doesn't sound good. And I also don't like the fact that anytime they use Ranger footage for the past series, they also voice over it, and it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound like the voices that people know, which especially is weird, because a lot of those voices are ones that, those actors are still alive. It's not like they're dead. And it's just like, is it a matter of not wanting to pay additional fees to get the actual voice rights to these characters for these single lines? Is it that, or was there something else that prevented them from using the original voices? Because personally, that also kind of upset me a little bit. Anyway, that's about it. Just catching up, saying what's going on, showing you some of the stuff that I've recently gotten, and I'm planning on gonna have in the mail relatively soon. But anyway, that's about it for me, and I hope to see you guys again in the future, and goodbye.